Laplace transform, usually we start with a circuit in the time domain, and then we find out what is the transform of the circuit. We find out what is the transform of the forcing function. We find the product of that. And then from that, we get the response. And then we find the inverse Laplace transform of the response. And that's what gave us an answer that looks like this. So far, we've been following always the same procedure, but we have been doing some work, some practice problems to ensure that we are comfortable with how these Laplace transforms work. You will see some interesting observations. For example, if my function is of this form, I have s plus 2 and in the denominator s plus 1 square and s plus 3, then I break it up into partial fractions. And after I break it up into partial fractions, I find out what are the residues. And whether or not I know the residues, but bottom line is, I know my form of my final answer, because I know that if I have a s plus 1 term, that is going to become exponential of minus t. If I have s plus 3, it is going to become exponential of minus 3t. If I have s plus 1 square, then it is becoming t times exponential of minus t, right? The extra 2 is just a residue that came from the a term. So the point is that once I have my Laplace transform, I can actually already know what my answer is going to look like. Because the part we have to be careful is when we are solving these circuits, there is the mathematical part and then there is the intuitive part. You have to understand what exactly is my transfer function representing, and therefore what is the characteristics of this transfer function. What kind of response can I expect from this circuit? Okay, so that you're getting by directly seeing the poles of the circuit. So if the poles of the transfer function. So these are the poles, s plus 1, s plus 3, s plus 1 square. I mean, these will give you the poles of the system, and the poles of the system will dictate what is the response of the system. Okay, so this is an important point. Now let's say that I have found out what is the response of the circuit. I want to know what is the response at different times, say the boundary conditions. I'm finding out the boundary condition, and what are the boundary conditions in this circuit in terms of time?
T equals to 0 and t equals to infinity.
Okay, so can you tell me what are the values of the response when t is equal to 0 and t equal to infinity?
At time t equals to 0, 1 by 2.
At time t equal to 0, so you have 1 plus 1 plus t equal to 0, this term will vanish. So you have 1 and minus 1, right? So it is 0 only. How are you getting 1 by 2?
Sorry, sir. I could not see the t multiply.
No problem. So it is 0. What about t equal to infinity? This term goes to 0. This term goes to 0. And this term is basically exponential of minus infinity. And this is t is infinity. So what would this term be? What is the answer here? As t tends to infinity, what is the value of this term?
Sir, infinity into 0, 0.
Sir, I think it is not defined by the rules.
Okay, both answers are correct. Now, supposing I had a term which was, say, there is a concept of what is bigger infinity and smaller infinity. Okay, so for example, which is a bigger 0 and what is a smaller 0? So when you consider the case of t, when t tends to infinity, then t is equal to infinity. But if you consider exponential of power t, then the actual expansion of this is 1 plus t square by 2 factorial plus t cube by 3 factorial, so forth, right? This is the formula of exponential of a function. So you can see that the exponential of t already has a term of t, okay? Plus it has t square, plus it has t cube. So when I'm multiplying t and e power t, the dominant factor is e power t. That is the winner over here. So although t tends to infinity, e power minus t tends to 0 much faster than t can tend to infinity. Therefore, this term also becomes 0. Okay. And your answers are correct. Sometimes it's undefined, but here there is a clear winner. Exponential of t is a much faster function than the linear function of t. Okay, everybody is clear about this? So here also the answer is 0. Now, if you want to find out these initial conditions, you can do something. Let's take our original transfer function. Okay. So let's see if there is a copy paste option. Okay. Not here. So let's write it down. S plus 2, S plus 1 square, S plus 3. Okay. Now, let me do the following function. Let me take limit as s tends to infinity, s times r of s. Okay. What is this going to work out to be? That means s into s plus 2 okay. What is the function as s tends to infinity? Because I'm doing limit as s tends to infinity and I'm applying it to this formula, and this formula gives me this, right? I have the original r of s and I've multiplied it by s, and now I'm applying limit as s tends to infinity. Let's make it clearer. What is the value over here?
G.
So when so when s tends to infinity, then I neglect the 2, I neglect the 3, I neglect the 1. So I'm left with s, 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 and s square. And s and s will cancel out with s square. I have one extra s in the denominator. As s tends to infinity, this is 0. What if I were to do limit as s tends to 0? What is this answer?
This is also 0.
Why is this 0?
Because it's multiplied with that x.
With the s on the top, correct. So when s goes to 0, this s vanishes, this s vanishes, this s vanishes. So you have the 2 by 3, but you have one s sitting out. So that also goes to 0. Very interestingly, there is a correlation between these two. And when you want to find out limit as s tends to infinity, what is s r of s? That is equal to r of 0. And this is equal to r of infinity. Okay. So this is known as initial value. And this is the final value. Okay. So initial value means I'm putting r is equal to 0. That is my initial boundary condition. When r is equal to 0, then that means when t is equal to 0, not r. When t equal to 0, at time t equal to 0, what is the value of r? That is the initial value of the function r of 0. And final value means I'm setting t equal to infinity. The system is saturated. I mean, the system has run for a long period of time, and now it has come to some state. I want to see what is that final state. Then that is this final value, r of infinity. So this formula, limit as s tends to 0 or limit as s tends to infinity, it tells me what is the initial value and what is the final value without even solving the time domain expression. See the beauty of it. That means I didn't have to find all these residues. Nothing was done. I directly took the original formula. I just multiplied by s, and I could set the limits infinity and 0, and I directly got what is the boundary conditions. Okay. So now see, by doing this kind of quick analysis back of the envelope, in fact, once you do it regularly, you will just do it mentally, you can solve it. So just mentally, you can quickly solve that. If I'm given a transfer function, then what is the initial value of it? What is the final value of it? Where are the poles? And therefore, I also know what is the shape of the response. I know the response is going to have exponential of minus t over here. And due to this, it will have another exponential of minus t term. That's the exponential of minus t. And then due to the square, I will have a t times exponential of minus t. So just by observation, without doing any mathematical solution, you can find this out. So has any of you heard about initial value or final value theorem before, or have you studied in signals and systems? No. Okay. So let us see how this came about. What is the magic behind this? It's very straightforward. Okay. Supposing I take, let's say, initial value theorem. According to this, limit as s tends to infinity, s f of s is equal to f of 0. Okay, that's the initial value theorem. And see how you know that time and frequency are inverse to each other, right? So if I want to find out at time t equal to 0, I have to put frequency equal to infinite. And if I have to find out at time t equal to infinite, that means what is the final value, then I have to put the frequency equal to 0. Okay. So this is like a easy way to remember what is the right limit to take. So initial value theorem is this. Now, if I want to take this limit as s tends to infinity s f of s, then you know that normally when we look at this s f of s, where does this term come from? It comes when you take a derivative, right? When I'm taking the Laplace transform of a derivative. Supposing I'm taking the Laplace transform of df by dt. So that's integral 0 to infinity e power minus st into df by dt into dt, right? And now what I'm doing is if I take limit as s tends to infinity, so this is equal to f of 0 okay. This is straightforward. All I did is I cancelled dt and dt, and because I did that, it's a change of variable. So f, earlier the time was going from 0 to infinity. Now I have to integrate it from f of 0 to f of infinity. Okay. And now if I were to apply the limit, as s tends to infinity to this whole thing, right? Then what will I get? As s tends to infinity, this term becomes 0. Therefore, the integral of this entire term is nothing but 0. And I also know the formula for the first derivative. I know that the Laplace transform of this is also equal to s f of s minus f of 0, right? So now I can equate the two. I know that df Laplace transform is s f of s minus f of 0. And I know that limit as s tends to infinity, this term is 0. That means, in conclusion, limit as s tends to infinity, s f of s minus f of 0 is equal to 0, or right? So this is in the left side is in the Laplace domain, right side is in the time domain. So this is how we got the initial value theorem. And similarly, you can do the final value theorem. All you have to do is you have to set limit as s tends to 0 over here. Okay. So again, we'll do the same story. So let's say that I have to take the df by dt. So integral 0 to infinity e power minus st df by dt into dt. Okay. And now I'm taking limit as s tends to 0. what is the formula for integral of u dv? Can anyone tell me? I'm trying.
U square upon 2.
U square upon 2. How
Yes,
did you
sir.
get that? Integral of u with respect to
UV,
d.
sir.
Yeah.
Oh, sir. UV, sir.
UV. Okay. So u is e power minus st and v is nothing but f, right? And similarly, and this is integrated from f of 0 to f of infinity. Okay. And then on the other hand, it is uv minus integral v, that is df, and du, that is e power minus st into minus s. Is that okay? And then if you were to solve this, probably you have to somehow get the final value theorem. Okay. So if I put limit as s tends to 0 for this whole term, then what you can see is that as s tends to 0, this becomes 1. Okay. So now you are basically have to find the final value, which means that is f of infinity. Okay. And if I put limit as s tends to 0, this e power minus st also vanishes, but I have a minus s. So this minus s will come out, and there